dig into some interesting sources and pull out those surprising bits of insight. Today, we're looking at something you see a lot in sports, maybe without even thinking about it. It's this tendency for organizations to hire coaches just because they were, great players back in the day. And our sources today really argue that playing a sport well and coaching it well, they're actually two very different things.
That's exactly right. And our goal here really is to explore what makes a coach genuinely qualified. We're talking all levels, from little kids just starting out in elementary school right up to those pretty serious high school athletes. We want to figure out why changing how we think about this is so important for, well, building a sports culture that's healthy, supportive, and yeah, high performing too. It really shapes young people.
Okay, so let's jump right in. We always hear it, don't we? That the best players make the best coaches. It feels intuitive. But the sources we looked at push back hard on that. Why is that connection often, well, a trap?
Yeah, it's that fundamental disconnect, isn't it?
Hmm.
Being a star player often means you're running on instinct, right? Yeah. You've honed this very personal skill set for your own performance. You just feel the game. Coaching, though, wow, that demands something totally different. It's about being able to, break things down, see what's going wrong, communicate it clearly, and inspire a whole group of people who, let's be honest, are probably playing at a level way below where you were. It's a huge shift from just doing it to deconstructing it and building others up. It's fundamentally a different skill, a different mental muscle entirely.
That makes so much sense when you put it that way. That distinction is really clear.
Mm-hmm.
So if playing experience isn't everything, how does that change what we look for? Especially, like you said at the beginning, for elementary kids, where it's supposed to be less about wins and more about developing a love for movement, teamwork, and confidence. What does good coaching look like there?
Oh, at that stage, you really need coaches who just bubble with patience and playfulness. Can they make a boring drill feel like a fun game? Can they actually spark enjoyment in just moving around? That's key for those little ones. And it's not just about, kicking a soccer ball, right? They need a grasp of fundamental movement, teaching basic coordination, balance, how to be agile, before the sport-specific stuff.
Right, the building blocks.
Exactly. And positive communication is huge. Giving feedback that builds kids up doesn't tear them down. And our sources really highlighted certifications, not just CPR, but things like youth development or physical literacy. It shows they care about the whole child, how they learn and grow.
Okay.
And here's a great point from the source, a kind of litmus test. Ask a potential coach how they'd handle a kid who just doesn't want to join in.
Interesting.
Yeah, their answer tells you everything about whether they get young kids or not.
That's a fantastic practical tip, because you can just picture it, right? If their go-to is just make them do it, instead of figuring out why they're hesitant. Well, their focus isn't really on building that love for activity. Okay, so kids grow up, things change, we get to middle school. The source calls this a really transitional time, physically, emotionally, and socially. Big changes happening. So coaches here have to be more than just coaches. They need to be educators and mentors.
Absolutely. Middle school coaches, wow, they need a real understanding of adolescent development. And that's not just knowing about growth spurts. It's being aware of how hormonal changes affect performance, balance, coordination. Especially for girls, puberty hits at different times and can really impact things.
Right, and body image concerns starting to creep into, I imagine.
Exactly. Big time. So, can the coach teach skills progressively? Break down complicated moves into steps kids can actually manage? Build their confidence bit by bit? And inclusion becomes so important here, making every kid feel like they belong and are valued, whether they're the star or spending more time on the bench.
That's crucial.
And they need, strong classroom management skills. It sounds maybe a bit academic, but it's about managing the group's energy, their emotions, meeting the kids where they are on any given day, just like a good teacher does.
Okay.
And a big red flag, according to the source, coaches who dismiss challenges by saying, oh, they're old enough to handle it. When kids face adversity or get injured, middle schoolers still need real guidance, not just being told to tough it out.
That classroom management idea is interesting. Are we talking about strict discipline, or is it more about managing the chaos constructively?
Oh, it's definitely about channeling that energy constructively. Think about a really good teacher with a lively class. It's less about cracking the whip and more about creating a space where kids feel safe to try things, make mistakes, learn, even when they're feeling awkward from a growth spurt or emotions are running high. It's about being tuned in and adapting to what they need in that moment.
Got it. That makes sense. Okay, so moving up again. High school. The stakes feel higher, performance matters more, maybe college scholarships are on the line, and like the source says, these coaches can become lifelong mentors or cautionary tales. Ugh. It notes that technical skill is important, sure, but emotional intelligence, that matters even more here. Why is that shift so pronounced?
Well, it's a powerful point. At this age, so much of an athlete's identity can get wrapped up in their sport. A coach with high emotional intelligence can help them navigate that pressure, the highs and lows. They can turn moments where a kid might just quit into real learning experiences, maybe even breakthroughs.
Yeah.
These coaches really need a clear philosophy, based on values that go beyond just the scoreboard, wins and losses. You want to see a growth mindset in the coach, too. Are they still learning, evolving with the sport and with the kids they coach?
And how do you measure success then? It's not just wins.
Great question. Look at their track record for player development. Do the athletes actually get better under them? Do they stay in the sport? And maybe, most importantly, do they leave that program as better human beings? Plus, the coach needs to be up to date, understanding mental skills training, proper recovery, modern strength and conditioning. They can't be stuck in the past.
Right.
And a really important one, are they committed to helping these kids prepare for life after high school sports? College, career readiness, building those transferable skills.
Yeah, the bigger picture.
Exactly. And the source points out something really key. The best coaches, the real game changers, they collaborate. They talk to the strength coach, the athletic trainer, maybe a mental performance coach, even the kids' teachers. They support the whole athlete.
That collaboration sounds crucial, like building a real support network around the kid. Okay, we've covered the age groups, but the source also brings up another really critical layer. It talks about the added layer of intentionality needed when hiring coaches specifically for female athletes. What are those unique things coaches need to understand there?
Yeah, this is so important and often overlooked. What does a truly qualified coach for girls and women bring? Well, first, just a genuine awareness of the female athlete experience. Understanding that girls aren't just small boys in sports, recognizing how things like hormonal changes, menstrual cycles, body image pressures can impact training, performance, mental health. It's different. They often need a more relational coaching style. Building trust is huge. Fostering open communication, creating a real sense of belonging, listening becomes incredibly important. Their whole approach should be about empowerment, helping girls find their voice, build confidence in making decisions, developing leaders, not just compliant players.
That's powerful.
And injury awareness, specifically for females, understanding why, for example, ACL injury risk is often higher, things related to biomechanics, hormones, and tailoring strength programs and recovery protocols with that knowledge.
Right.
Training each athlete intentionally.
Right, not a one-size-fits-all approach.
Yeah, definitely not. And finally, being a positive role model around body image, identity, mental health, praising effort and resilience, not appearance, actively avoiding language that shames or objectifies. And the source gives a huge red flag here. Any coach who says dismissively, "Oh, I treat them just like the boys,"
Oof, yeah.
that just completely misses the point and can actually be harmful because it ignores their specific physiological and social-emotional needs.
Wow. So putting it all together for girls' sports, the environment really needs to be psychologically safe, emotionally empowering, and physically intentional. That captures it well.
Exactly. And that really leads us nicely into the big overarching idea from the source material, which is hire teachers, not just tacticians.
That's a great line. Hire teachers, not just tacticians.
Yeah.
What does that mean in practice? What defines these teacher coaches?
Well, the best coaches, these teachers, they instinctively know how to connect before they correct. They inspire effort, not ego. They lead through their presence, their example, not just because they have the title coach. And the source gives some really practical advice for schools or clubs doing the hiring. Ask tough questions in interviews. Really probe their philosophy. Go watch them interact with players, maybe during a tryout or a practice observation. See how they are with the kids. And ultimately, choose people who see coaching as a calling, something meaningful, not just, a way to stay involved in the sport or a little extra cash. Because the impact is huge. Hiring the right coach doesn't just shape a team's season, it can genuinely shape a young person's life.
That really is the core message, isn't it? A powerful takeaway from this deep dive. We've really seen how effective coaching is so much more than just knowing the X's and O's from having played the game. It's about mentorship, development, being intentional across all the ages, and especially considering specific groups like female athletes.
Absolutely. And if you zoom out, think about the bigger picture. When we invest in coaches who are truly educators, who intentionally build that positive culture, we're not just boosting batting averages or win records, we're helping young people develop skills and resilience to thrive in all parts of their lives, long after they hang up their cleats or sneakers.
So thinking about that, maybe a final thought for everyone listening, whether you're in sports or not. How could applying this teacher, not tactician idea change things in other areas?
Yeah.
In work, in parenting, anywhere leadership and development really matter. Something